Welcome to Maddox News, guys. This is number 4. Got a big one for you guys today. We're covering a lot of stories. This was a very busy week in the news. We're going to start out with Billy Mitchell. Now, if you guys remember, The King of Kong, that was a movie that was a documentary about Billy Mitchell going up against Steve Wiebe. There are two fierce competitors trying to get the high score in King of Kong. Well, turns out Billy Mitchell cheated. That's something that's been rumored for years, and now it looks like the Donkey Kong forums may have finally found some evidence. But we're also going to be covering the emotional support hamster that got flushed. This is a crazy, stupid story. And then we got oh yeah, this kid got caught in a claw machine. That was stupid as well. We got another stupid story. Woodpeckers get brain damage, turns out. And then we've got a kidney thief in India. Logan Paul, is he reformed or a dipshit? He's back. We'll cover the story there. And then we've got a dominatrix cop that got fired. A fake tiger with real cops. And then I'll be reading your comments throughout this broadcast. All right, but let's go ahead and start. Let's talk about this first story with Billy Mitchell, or Billy Bitchell as I have it here on this slide. But check this shit out. So the Donkey Kong forums have been keeping track of the high score for years. This looks like the high score for the top 10 that's been on the list for a long time. And what happened is Billy Mitchell and Steve Wiebe at one point were the two best players, the two biggest contenders in the world. And eventually, this movie, it kind of culminated with a big battle between the two of them. Now, what has happened since is that Billy Mitchell got his status stripped because they found him cheating, potentially. Now, here's what happened. He got bumped down to the 47th place in the world. And the reason is because his other 3 scores were no longer counted. It says here, yeah, he previously held the number 20 score with 1.062 million points. Billy's competition to be the King of Kong was featured in the documentary with the same name, obviously. He went up against the rival Steve Wiebe, who beat him with 1.064 million points. Wiebe is currently ranked number 19 in the world. Now, Billy Mitchell is now 47th because his as I mentioned, his score got stripped. Now, check this out. Jeremy Young from the Donkey Kong forums says that while many people have seen Billy play in public, there are no known independent, impartial, objective witnesses to any of the big 3 games. He has never scored over 1 million in a live venue. Now, this was surprising to me because I thought for sure this is a guy who's been, bragging about his score for years, that this guy for sure would have demonstrated his prowess in front of a live audience. Well, it turns out he hasn't. He's never scored over 1 million in a live venue. Billy claimed 1.047 million was done in front of people, but that he had no access to the inside of the machine. So that's very curious, because if he didn't have access to the inside of the machine, then people can't investigate it and make sure that it was set up correctly. And also, he didn't have a direct feed. The 1.05 million was supposedly done at an actual convention, but Billy was conveniently playing in another room. Now, here's the part where it gets really interesting, the detective work they did to figure out that Billy was cheating. Check this out. We have on the left, this is a feed from Chris Gleed. Now, Chris Gleed is another competitor in the in Donkey Kong. I think his high score is 970,000. And as you can see, this is an actual arcade feed on the left. Now, the arcade original renders from left to right in kind of a sliding motion. Now watch right here, the screen. You see how it kind of renders from the left side and then fills in on the right? Now, when you play with MAME, MAME is an emulator. And what MAME does is it renders huge chunks of the level at once. So it's basically going through in 2 or 3 passes, and it's rendering the entire level. And if you slow it down enough, you can look at the frames here. The MAME one is rendering consistently with other MAME versions. So it looks like that's how they caught Billy Mitchell. The problem with playing with MAME, sometimes Twin Galaxies allows players to submit MAME scores, but the problem with playing with MAME is that you have to have someone observing you to make sure that your score is actually proper, that you didn't cheat. MAME allows you to record your play stop and start almost like a VCR and also rewind your play. So if you fuck up and suck dick, then then you can just rewind your play. Anyway, it's Billy Bitchell. It's a total bitch-made pussy. I don't think that score counts anymore. Anyway, moving on. We got another story here. This is, oh man, this is a spicy one. This is from, this is becoming more and more common. We have these emotional support animals. So last week we covered an emotional support peacock. This is a real thing that people tried to bring into the airport. Now a girl tried to bring an emotional support hamster and ended up having to flush it down the toilet. The audio's muted? There's no audio. Oh, shit. All right, we should be back. Looks like there was some audio issues. If you guys still hear any audio issues, let me know. We'll take a look at that. Should be okay, though. We're just double-checking, making sure the audio sounds good. Emotional support animals. That's what we were talking about. Now, this is the shit that's been happening more and more commonly lately. And the latest one is this emotional support hamster that a girl tried to take on board her flight and ended up having to flush it due to Spirit Airlines. I'm going to read a super chat real quick. Cody Ray Johnson says, great show for $5. Thank you, Cody Ray Johnson. But let's get back to the news. So a student named Belen Aldecosia tried to take her emotional support hamster aboard a Spirit Airlines flight. And she called ahead of time, and the employees said that she would be fine. But when she got there, the employees changed their tune and said that they would not let her bring the hamster aboard. Spirit Airline employees suggested that she flush the hamster Pebbles down the toilet or let it free. And what she basically said is she didn't have any options. She said she was scared, I was scared. It was horrifying trying to put her in the toilet, which I imagine it would be. So she said she sat there in the stall and cried for 10 minutes. Here are some other options she could have done instead of flushing it down the toilet. Option number 1, don't flush it down the toilet. Option number 2, set it free in the airport. How about that? Option number 3, give it to someone. These are all things you can do instead of flushing it. Or maybe don't have an emotional support hamster. Or how about this one? Sneak it on the plane. It's a fucking hamster. I mean, look at the size of this thing. This is an actual picture of her hamster. The thing's tiny. You can sneak that shit in your jacket. Or you should see a therapist, and that's the one I recommend the most, because if you need an emotional support hamster just to board a flight, you have bigger issues, you should see a therapist before wherever the fuck you're going. Let's move on to the next story. Oh, this is great. This, they have those arcade claw machines, and a kid climbed into one, trying to steal some toys. Look at this kid. Got busted. A boy got stuck climbing into an arcade claw machine to steal some toys. Whoever made this machine needs an award immediately. This is a good design if it's trapping kids. The rescue team said the boy was not harmed. Fire officials said that they were able to extract the boy while causing minimal damage to the game. How about minimal damage to the boy for a change? It's always the machines that are hurt. And the worst part? They let the kid keep some of the toys. This is the Titusville Police Department. Excuse me, the fire department in Titusville. They're enablers. It says here, the kid kept some of the toys. The Titusville Fire Department chief said he ended up with what he was after. So, you have this shithead kid who sneaks away from his parents, climbs into an arcade machine, steals some toys, and then the lesson that you're teaching this kid is after you snuck into this machine and tried to steal a bunch of shit that you didn't earn, is that you can just have it. So he cost the fire department their time. There may have been an emergency, an actual emergency going on, rather than a kid stuck in a little playpen with stuffed animals. And then after all of this, after all the trouble he caused, and after everything he cost the fire department, they just let him keep the toys. Bunch of enablers. Next story is about woodpeckers. New study found that woodpeckers get brain damaged. Who knew? This is, turns out when you bang your sharp beak that's connected to your skull against a log repeatedly, it gives you brain damage. Breaking news. This is a Maddox News exclusive. Scientists say that this could be a good thing. Damn right it's a good thing. The more birds with brain damage, the better, I say. According to scientists, woodpeckers have symptoms similar to those seen in American football players with head injuries. The upside is, we don't give woodpeckers scholarships. According to this article from The Independent, it says woodpeckers slam their heads into trees about 15 miles per hour, or up to 12,000 times per day. It's not the only pecker that does that, if you know what I mean. My pecker. Good joke. Anyway, moving on. Oh, this one's fucked up. So there's that urban legend that someone might steal your kidneys. You'll wake up in a tub of ice and someone has cut a hole on the side of your body and they've taken your kidneys. Well, this actually happened, but not quite like that. This is in India. A guy stole his wife's kidney. Actually, he sold it. Here's what happened. Yeah, the husband wanted a dowry, which is basically a payment from the bride's family so that the husband won't divorce the woman. It's basically marriage insurance, because everyone knows marriage sucks. They outlawed dowries in 1961 because they found them, after extensive research, that they're not effective to keep people married. The husband was a total loser. In fact, here's the look on his wife's face when she found out. That's what she looks like. She's this is actually a live feed. Her face is just, it just has this "are you fucking kidding me" look on it forever. Now, the way the guy did it is he took her to the hospital for an appendicitis procedure and I guess told the doctor that she was having a kidney transplanted. He never told her. So a couple months later, she was complaining about stomach pain or something. So she went to the doctor again and they x-rayed her and they said, "Hey, do you know you're missing a kidney?" That's how she found out. Anyway, the guy got arrested. Let's take a look at... We can take a look at some of the super chats and some of the chats. We'll take a quick break to read some of your comments, your stupid comments here. There we go. The first comment says, "Maddox, you speak the truth. You should be president," said Blake Leonetti. Thank you, Blake. I agree. Next comment, Taylor Nikolai says, "I like Maddox." Thank you, Taylor. I like me too. I'm a great dude. Ron Sanchez says, "Beat Contra with 1 life." Now that's a fucking record. Amen, Ron. Smart guy. By the way, guys, say thanks to Stan the producer. Stan the producer's getting all these comments from you guys. Dat Juice Abuse for $5 super chat says, "Love the show so far. Amazon HQ2 thoughts." Amazon HQ2. Oh, that's the, I don't know what that is. I don't know what the fuck the Amazon HQ2 is. And I realize that's a little bit difficult to read on the screen because the super chat color is the same as the chroma color. We'll get that fixed in the future. Gravity Caress says, "Haters gonna hate. Keep up the good work," for $5. Thank you, Gravity Caress. Very cool. There's another one from Uber Newman. Says, "The woodpecker was a metal fan." Thank you, Uber Newman. Too fucking hard to say, man. And then, yeah, okay. That's it. Those are the comments for now. We'll read some more of your comments coming up, but we're going to get back to the news. Let's do this. Logan Paul is back in the headlines again. Turns out he was being a dipshit. So he made his big return to YouTube. And this was after, if you guys don't remember, he had the suicide forest incident where he went to Japan and went into the suicide forest, found an actual suicide victim. And what pissed off most people is that he stood there and kind of made light of it, joked around, acted like a dipshit, and took some pictures. So a lot of people were wondering, is Logan Paul, in fact, a dipshit? So this was his big comeback, and one of the first videos he posted as his big comeback was a video where he asked his fans to do the Tide Pod Challenge. I believe that was removed. And then he produced a video where he tased a dead rat. He tased a dead rat, and he also found a fish on his walkway, which I'll show you in a second. But he also jumped out of a plane and tragically survived. He was claiming that his secondary chute didn't open. But anyway, back to the video, his big comeback video. It featured him tasing a dead rat, which is kind of like kicking a dead horse, except not as satisfying. It's with a taser instead of your foot, obviously. And it's also a rat. So this picture, you're seeing here a screenshot of his video where he found a fish on his walkway. And the fish was gasping for air, and he came over and tried to give it CPR by poking it. He eventually put the fish back in the pond, but mercifully, it died. Not of oxygen deprivation, as you might be wondering, but of embarrassment of being associated with Logan Paul. Man, that's embarrassing. All right, let's move on. Oh, this next story. This is a police officer that was fired for being a dominatrix. So check this shit out. That's an actual picture of her. A sheriff's department officer was fired because she used to be a dominatrix, and it made the department the subject of ridicule and jokes. At one point, cops even gave her a psych evaluation because they were afraid she might use excessive force. Yeah, no shit. But the best part of it is that, and this is the whole reason I brought in this story, is that her name was Hyman. She got fired, and the department lost its hymen. Hey guys, what's pink and has 7 dents in it? Snow White's hymen. Me and Stan wrote all these hymen jokes this afternoon. Here's another one. That's one hymen you can't say you lost riding a horse. Am I right? Anyway, we should take this seriously, guys. We're doing the news. Let's read some more of your comments. We've got here, Logan Paul is a dingleberry, says Gravity Crest. Thank you, Gravity Crest. Here's another one by Brian McCaffrey. Says Logan Paul should tase the tip of his dick. I agree. And here's a comment from Leatherclad Vegan. Says double header. Logan Paul, why does he exist? Oh, that's Slit Flight 518, and then Leatherclad Vegan says, because God hates us. Thank you, guys. And keep those super chats coming. Thank you, Gravity Crest, Dat Juice, Juice Boost, rather. All right, let's get back to the news. So, we've got one last story here. Oh, yeah. Forgot that slide there. This is a story about... Speaking of dumb police officers, and I'm not saying that she's the dumb one, the people who fired her, I guess, because she's a badass dominatrix. But here's a story about cops that held up a stuffed tiger for an hour. This happened in Scotland. Cops in Scotland spent about an hour at a standoff with a stuffed tiger. They thought it was a real cat stalking some cattle on a farm. So they sat there for an hour. Nobody thought to drive up to the tiger. Like, tigers can do anything against a police car. Tigers aren't that smart. Plus, tigers are stronger than... cars are stronger than tigers. You just run them over. Problem solved, you dumb shits. Look at this. Remember that time Siegfried and Roy got dragged off stage by a tiger biting their throat? Yeah. Should have had a car, dipshit. Anyway, guys, let's read a few more comments, and then we're going to wrap this one up. We had some technical difficulties in the middle. Some of you are saying the audio sounds like mono. I think you are probably wrong. Whether it's mono or not, you should still be able to hear it just fine. You guys, you know, some of you weirdos, I got to go on a quick little rant here. Some of you weirdos, for some reason, have your audio panned incorrectly. It's panned all the way to the left or all the way to the right. You got to figure your shit out, because I think my shit's figured out. It's all on your end. Let's double check here. All right, yeah, we got some comments. Say thanks to Stan, the producer, guys. If you guys appreciate these comments that he's posting in here, I'll read some more. It says, how did they not notice the tiger not moving? Good question, Prophet of Truth. Well, I think they thought the tiger was just prowling, just waiting to stalk the cattle. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. I'm gonna be doing these weekly. There are gonna be a lot more coming down the line. Stan, the producer, is helping out a lot. You know, we're still getting the kinks out. Obviously, this is a live broadcast. Very few YouTubers do live broadcasts. This is entirely live. It's being produced on the fly. If you appreciate it, if you enjoy it, keep those super chats coming. Helps keep the lights on, or off, I guess. Some of you idiots think my forehead looks too shiny. I don't know, man. It's fucking light. That's how it works. It's on or off, idiots. I guess I could get a umbrella or something. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. That's it for this week. Send me your suggestions for news articles you want me to cover. If you want me to do more video game related stuff, let me know, and I will ignore it. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. Until next time, I'm Maddox. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And most of all, you're welcome.